Apple held its 2018 Worldwide Developers Conference Monday in San Jose, California. Apple CEO Tim Cook kicked off the event. The company unveiled several software innovations to iPhone and Mac devices, including privacy upgrades and features billed as a way to help users avoid tech addiction. Ian Sherr is executive editor at CNET, and he joins me now from San Francisco. All right, so Ian, privacy and security have become major issues in the tech world in recent months. What new privacy features did Apple announce on Monday?
Yeah, the biggest thing is that they want to change the way that their web browser works. So there's a web browser called Safari. It works on Macs. It comes with them. Apple makes it. And what they want to do is that they want to stop companies from tracking you across the web in a lot of different ways. One of the ones that they showed on stage was that when you use a comments box on a website that's from Facebook, for example, it actually tracks you, of course, from that website, even if you're not on Facebook. And so they want to make it so that you can choose to say, no, I don't want to be tracked. And it's just one of the ways that Apple is really trying to push these issues. Steve Jobs, the co-founder and CEO, who's now dead, he had said that one of the things he wanted to do with privacy issues was to constantly ask people over and over again whether or not they had permission to to track them and use their information. And that's something Apple continues to do to this day.
Well, and Apple also announced efforts to limit the amount of time users spend on their iPhones. How is the company trying to do that in iOS 12?
Yeah, so this new software they're going to come out with in the fall is going to have this feature called screen time, which you may have heard of when it comes to kids. Now it's going to be used for adults too. And the idea is that it's going to tell you how often you're using your phone, and it's going to give you an option to actually set limits on how often you're using an app. So let's say that you find yourself using Instagram too often. You can say that after an hour every day for the phone to tell you stop using it. And these types of things are little nudges to try and help you, because there's this constant conversation going on about phone addiction, and they're really worried about it. And so they want to make sure that they're able to do something to make us feel like they're thinking about our well-being.
Interesting. Well, part of this effort is better organization of notifications. What do those changes look like?
Yeah, so this is something that other phones have had for quite a while, right? All those phones that aren't iPhones that are powered by Google's Android software. What it'll do is that it'll actually group all of these messages together. So you may get, for example, a tweet message and then an email and then maybe a notification from CBS's app. What it'll do is that it'll organize them together so that you don't have just all of these long lists of notifications whenever you pick up your phone after a few hours. So hopefully that should help people at least to manage all of this stuff.
Well, do we know, you touched on this a moment ago, but do we know what drove Apple to help people avoid addiction to its devices?
They have been under a lot of pressure, as has all of the tech industry. You may remember back in January, there was a parents group that asked Apple to actually do research into tech addiction in children, because it's a real concern of a lot of parents. And so Apple doing these little movements here is partially, I think, to answer those concerns. But also, if it becomes kind of a normal conversation topic that we all feel like we're addicted to our devices, then we're less likely to feel good about the company selling them to us, and that's no good for Apple. So they need to do something to try and answer these concerns.
Well, what other changes to the new iPhone operating system caught your attention?
You know, I think probably the thing that caught my attention the most was the silly things that they do. You may have heard of these Animojis, which are these kind of emojis that you can kind of control with your face. They have a lot of ads around them. They've added a few new ones, including a T-Rex, which is pretty timely with the Jurassic Park movie coming out. Yeah. But it just kind of shows that they also want to make these things fun, too.
All right, Ian Sherr for us. Ian, thanks very much.
My pleasure.